Into our second discussion. It concerns ECOWAS, member states, and of course Nigeria. If we recall, 3 countries pulled out from the sub-regional body and have formed a form of confederation. A lot of people believe, analysts believe, that it has grave consequences for security and political and economic development of the sub-region. And the hope is that they will be brought back. Niger Republic, Mali, and Burkina Faso. ECOWAS Parliament, we heard, is also making efforts towards that regard. And joining us right away for further perspective on this issue is a member of the ECOWAS Parliament, Honorable Awaji-Inombek Abiante. He's the first rapporteur to ECOWAS Parliament Committee on Political Affairs, Peace and Security and African Peer Review Mechanism. Of course, at the national level, before he become ECOWAS member, ECOWAS parliamentarian in Nigeria have to first be a member of the National Assembly, and he is at the House of Representatives. Abiante is the chairman, Urban Development and Regional Planning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.
So how much concern is ECOWAS as this ECOWAS Secretariat, especially the Parliament, in the loss of 3 member states?
It's quite a challenge to all members of Parliament, and I'm also convinced that it should also be a challenge to all members of the community, the West African community of states. But before we look at the challenge, we should be able to understand some perspectives where we are coming from and how we got to this point. I think that there are fundamental issues that may not have been considered from the inception. When the organization was put together, the Economic Community of West African States in the 70s, the position, the situation within the West African sub-region was such that governance structures were very diverse, and to a certain extent, they are still diverse till today. The major consideration then was about the economic fortunes, economic stability, economic prosperity of member states, which tailored whatever it was that they had as the charters and the protocols. But going forward, member states decided to integrate an aspect that relates to good governance. And in defining good governance, there could be variants where you have diverse government and governance structures. Some member states run the parliamentary system, other member states run the presidential system. And even in running the presidential system, there are mixed. There are some countries where combination of both. And parliamentary. There are countries where after the elections, members to the various parliaments could have a opportunity to be nominated in without running any election. So you see, these are diverse areas. And now, some member states also do not have limitation in terms of term. So these are challenges before the governance structure of the community. In trying to enforce and ensure that there is commonality of purpose and convergence, the heads of states, authorities, and all that now came up with this concept. Look, good governance should also relate with how power transits from one man or one group, one term to the other, trying to have a term limit in the process. They had issues with some of the countries, how it related to their leadership recruitment processes.
The coup d'etat.
The coup and all. That is exactly where all of this started. And it led to, let us see how we can ensure that this does not happen again, and led to the sanctions. And it was not taking the way the authorities had intended it to be taken, at least get back to dialogue and sit down.